Here we are back in SQL Server Management Studio, and in this example, we will see how we can encrypt our database and store in Windows Azure. In previous example, we had compressed our database. However, in this example, we'll encrypt it with a key and make sure that our database cannot be unauthorized accessed by people with malicious intention. As we have already set up our Azure storage engine in previous example, we do not have to set that up this time. We have also created folders plural site data and plural site backup in my C drive, hence we do not even have to do that once again. Now, our first step would be to create database. We'll be creating database as we create any other database. Now, we'll populate this database with sample table and data. First, I will use this database. Now, I will create a client data sample table, and right after that, I will populate it with 2 rows. And let's select the data in result set. We can see rows with Pinal and Vinod. That means our table is populated successfully. Now we have to set up master key and certificate for backup encryption. First, we'll create a master key. For that, we have to use master database. And right after that, we'll create certificate backup cert with the subject my backup certification. Upon successfully creating master key and certificate, now we are all set to take backup with encryption on Azure. Here we are. First, we will take a normal backup without encryption or compression to disk. This command works in earlier version of SQL Server as well. Select the statement and click on execute. Database backup is successfully taken on C drive backup folder. The backup is not compressed as well as it is not encrypted. Next, we'll take backup to the cloud as we have seen in previous clip. Over here, we will change disk to URL and provide URL where we will take backup. Remember, our blob storage name is SQL Authority 99. This time, I'm specifying compression, but once again, not specifying any encryption. Select the statement and click on execute. As the backup is being taken to Azure, it will take a little bit of time as it uses internet and takes a backup to the Azure. Backup database is successfully completed. Now, we have 2 backup. One is on local disk and one is on Azure. If you attended module 2, you must be aware of that we should always back up our certificate on premises for later use. If we do not take backup of this certificate, all our future operations may give us warning. Well, as we will not take backup of this certificate, we will keep on seeing warning in future operations. After a while, we will execute this statement and take backup and the warnings will go away. Let's see that by executing very next statement. This statement is where we are going to take backup with encryption. Remember, we have replaced disk with URL and provided the URL where we want to store our backup. The credential is my cloud credential, and we are also specifying that we will be encrypting this database but not compressing. The encryption algorithm which we are going to use is AES 256, and server certificate is the backup cert which we had created earlier in this clip. Now select the statement and click on execute. After a while, we will see backup operation completed, but along with that, we'll also see a warning. This warning is because we have not taken backup of our certificate. Here it is in the message. You can see the very first line talks about the certificate is not being backed up. We should immediately take backup of this certificate and the private key with the certificate. If the certificates ever become unavailable, or if we have to restore this database, we will need this certificate to do those operations. Now, let's ignore this warning one more time and take backup with compression. This time, we are keeping everything same. However, we are just changing keyword no compress to compression. That means on Windows Azure blob storage, we are taking backup with compression as well as with encryption. Select the statement and click on execute. Now the backup database is successfully completed. That means we should have 2 different files created from this clip on our Azure blob storage. Let's check that with the help of Azure Storage Explorer. Select SQL Backup and click on refresh on the top right side. The first clip is when we had compression on but no encryption was specified. The file size at the time is 768 kilobytes. After that, we created a file without any compression, but we enabled the encryption. At that time, the file size was 3 MB because we did not compress this file. And the third file is when we enable compression as well as encryption, and the file size is once again 768. File number 2 is not encrypted. That means if anybody get access to file number 2, they can just restore this on the database and can access the file and all the data inside the file. However, for file number 3 and file number 4, that is not true because those files are encrypted. They can be only decrypted if person has a certificate or the key to open that encryption. Now we are back in SQL Server Management Studio. We keep on saying this as we have not taken backup of our certificate. Let's go ahead and take certificates backup. This will hide all the warnings in future. Select the statement and click on execute. This will back up certificate on the file listed over here. Along with certificate, the private key will be also backed up and the password is also specified over here. This entire process adds additional layer of security to our file which is stored on Azure. Let's go back to our Windows folder where these files are. Here we are. Here is backup certificate and here is private key. You can take both of this file and move it to entirely different location. Now your certificate is at one place, your private key at other place, your data backup in Windows Azure and your server on premises. On the top of everything, there is a password for certificate and private key. This all makes this entire situation extremely complex and almost hack-proof. If somebody wants to gain access to your database, they will need all this information. And if they have all this information, that means it's good chance that he or she is an authorized user. Now, let's go back to SQL Server Management Studio. As we have taken backup of our certificate and keys, now we'll do one more thing. Select the statement and click on execute. What this does is it provides us thumbprint of the certificate which we have just created. Well, for a moment, remember our thumbprint of backup certificate starts with 0xEAD and it ends with 46C. In next clip, we will see how we can restore compressed and encrypted file from Windows Azure blob storage.